What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here with another episode of I'm not sure what. It's definitely not a Chopper Build series episode. It's not going to be really anything, but we're going to be hanging out and we're going to be finishing up some chopper stuff. I got to still work on the fork legs a little bit. I want to clean up the other fork leg because I wasn't quite happy with the way it turned out, so I want to try and get some of the scratches and lumps out of it. You know, when you're working on it and you got a bunch of beers inside you, things start to look good, and then you come back the next day and say, you know what, I think I can do better. So we'll see if I can make it better or just make it worse. Luckily, Sportster forks are not super hard to come by, so if I absolutely ruin it, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I've also got some other stuff around the house to take care of. It's been raining on and off. It's not a great day to ride motorcycles, but that doesn't mean we can't work on stuff around here and have a little fun. Alright, before we jump into the first project, I did want to share something with you guys that somebody sent me. As you can tell from my wall back here, I'm not an artist, but I am a big fan of supporting artists. I love art, and if it has anything to do with motorcycles, even better. But you know, I love all forms of art. I'm a very big supporter of it, although not a practitioner. I couldn't draw a stick figure to save my life. Guys who've been watching the channel for a while and remember the wall decor will even remember that I had an art contest on the channel and got the winning piece tattooed on my leg. So I just wanted to share something with you guys really quick. It's this guy on Instagram said, hey, can I send you some stuff? I'm working on a comic book. And I said, oh, you know, sure, I love art, I love comics, send it on over to me. He sent me the draft to his comic book. It's called Hellbound, and holy crap, it's actually amazing. What better place to display the comic he sent me than on top of a motorcycle? But as you can see here, this is all just printed out and stapled together, but this is the draft of the comic he's made it in. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not lying. Like, I don't have any reason to say this. Like, you could have just let him send it to me and been like, oh, cool, and never said anything about it at all. But it was so freaking good that I want to share it and be like, hey, go check this guy out because he's doing really cool stuff. On top of that, he sent me these really cool prints that be looking for these to get framed soon and hung up on the wall. I'm gonna have to get a wide angle lens here or something to be able to fit all my art all my art up here, because I'm starting to run out of room. Like right about here is where my lens fits now when I'm doing my talking head vlogs. I gotta get a better one. And yes, Naked B-Rad qualifies as art. B-Rad's more of a performance artist, if you know what I mean. Anyway, huge thanks for sending all this stuff out to me, man. I really enjoyed the comic. I can't wait to read the finished product, and I think a lot of you guys who are following me on here, you guys would enjoy it as well. So please go check him out on Instagram. Links in the description. All right, first thing on the docket, it's time to erase some mistakes. The F-150 is Jessica's truck, and call me sexist if you want, like a whole lot of girls' trucks. There's more than a few scrapes down the side. Now obviously these things don't hurt anything and they're just from our white plastic fence, but I do like to keep my machines looking good if I can, so we're gonna go ahead and take these off of here today. And the way I do that is pretty simple. I got a buffing wheel and I got some Colgate. You can actually do this by hand too, and this toothpaste, then there's probably something better to use than this, but I found that this just takes stuff like this off pretty easily. Well then, these might be a little deeper than I thought. I seem so confident with my buffing wheel, it's not working. Well, unfortunately my buffer didn't have enough ass to handle the job, so I had to break out the big guns. But the principle remains the same. I'm still just using toothpaste to take this off. Uh-oh. Dead battery. Where there's a will, there's a way. It seems like the earth is conspiring against me a little bit today, so I'm waiting for the battery to charge so I can finish buffing off the paint scrapes on the F-150, and I said, you know what, while I'm waiting for that, I might as well start to work on the fork legs and try to get those bumps smoothed out. But then it looks like it's about to start raining again, so I went ahead and set up this tent. I'm not sure how good an idea it is to be plugging in my extension cord through the rain underneath the tent and using an angle grinder to work on this stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it a whirl. So here's my issue. You know, when you kind of just glance at these things, they don't look absolutely terrible, but when you get a little bit closer, that's when you start to notice those really, these kind of just fine little, they almost look like hash marks, almost like I was counting up how many minutes I spent doing this. And then when you look along it, you can see that I did, you know, I left it a little bit lumpy there. So I've basically got some finer grit flap wheels. So I was using a 40 grit flap wheel, and I think that's what left me with these really fine hash marks in here. So now I have some 120 grit flap wheels. So I'm going to try to take those out. Now, unfortunately, when you start doing that, basically I'm completely starting over. So whereas like the polished parts of this do look really nice, I'm basically going to have to do the entire process over again. But you know, that's what it takes. So let's get into it. Just so we're not filling that fork seal up with chunks of aluminum. Probably not good for it. And don't forget, old Shadetree's turned over a new leaf, so we are wearing a mask and face and eye protection while we work with grinders, but I ain't that safe. We're still getting drunk. Alright, well, it looks like we've erased some mistakes. Unfortunately, the only way to know if I've really done it properly is to repolish this back down to what the rest of the finish is like. So, unfortunately, there is no easy way to do that. Just starting from scratch again, so let's do it. Alright, from the 120 moving back up to 220, I'm hoping I can just do this one part. I've never done this before, you know, you guys are learning along with me, so this is all new to job. Couldn't tell in the video, I had to go back to the 120 by hand because there's still just some little spots in there that apparently the mouse could not quite get, that I'm seeming to be able to get out of here by hand. Of course, the proof is in the pudding. You never know what it's going to look like until you get it back up to polish and see if those marks remained. It's officially probably a little bit too wet out to work on motorcycles right now. But mission accomplished for tonight. I got those scratches out, and I had to do it in the thunder and lightning, and I kind of feel like I'm in a Meatloaf song right now, but it ain't bad, and this looks a whole hell of a lot better. I'm glad I did it. Alright, day 2, and we're still getting threatened with rain, but I am going to try to finish this stuff up. I know we're jumping back and forth with projects a little bit, but now that my drill is charged up, I'm going to try to erase the rest of Jessica's mistakes off the F-150. Well, we got a little bit of it off yesterday, if you remember what it looked like over there, but now it's time to tackle the big stuff. Believe it or not, the big stuff actually comes off a lot easier than the little stuff. I don't know if it's because it's on there thicker, so the toothpaste can get at it better. I really don't know. Again, I don't even know if this is the best way to do this, but you know, I used to be a mechanic, for you guys who didn't know, and when I was a mechanic, this is usually what I use to get little scuffs. If I put a scuff on a customer's car, this is the method I would use to get it off there. Oh no, dead again. Well, that's all right. Luckily, I've still got plenty of polishing awaiting me on the fork legs, so we'll switch back to that while the battery charges. All right, I guess I should actually show these things side by side, because when I'm just working on one, it's kind of hard to tell what I'm actually doing. So this is, dare I say, the completed product. This is basically, I'm gonna put another buff on it and try and get it even shinier with my actual, like, my random orbital buffer, but this is where I started. So I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to tell the difference, but I mean, there is a pretty substantial difference, and maybe if you're just looking at it, you're like, that's not enough of a difference for the amount of work that you put into it. I think it is, so that's why I put the work into it, and probably no one else who ever looks at these will ever think that that amount of work went into it. Like, you would have to really know about polishing to know that someone actually put the time in to make it look like this. So this is basically just for me, and that's about it, to say, you know what, I did this. And for the odd few people that will look at it and say, dang, that guy really put some work into those forks, you know. And of course for all you guys, because I'm doing it with you guys on the internet. So literally, thank you. You know, y'all's support and you guys telling me, you know, keep on going and keep on doing this and trying your hardest to make this look nice is actually a huge deal. It's super motivating. It's 100% what keeps me going in the face of being very frustrated sometimes with stuff like this, is 100% every one of y'all's support. So seriously, thank you. I literally could not do it without you. So let's bang our head against the wall again. Theoretically, this one should be easier since I'm just dealing with a straight tube. I don't actually have to shape anything. I just have to grind them off and make it round. I mean, I got some shape in it a little bit, but not like the other one where I was trying to save the brake mounting part on the other fork leg and make a smooth transition down back into the fork. With this, I'm just lopping off the fender tabs and that's it. So theoretically easier, I guess we'll see. Actually going to go ahead and switch. Maybe somebody who knows more about grinding could tell me about this, but it looks like it is tearing up my cutting wheel pretty bad, and even though I am wearing eye protection, this looks kind of dangerous, so I'm going to switch to a little sturdier wheel than this. I don't know if that's an aluminum thing or what. Alright, this guy looks like he's made out of little sterner stuff. Alright, well, that's enough of the big cutting wheel. That thing, to be honest with you, that thing kind of makes me nervous. I really don't like using it that much. Alright, I got it looking pretty decent, but I'm going to go ahead and switch to the 120 grit flap wheel and see if I can't put some finishing touches on it and get rid of some of these little ridges I have here. Alright, even though I just hit it with the 120 grit flap wheel, I'm going to go ahead and hit the whole leg with the mouse at 120 grit as well. So right here, I'm not sure if these things are going to show up on camera or not, but you see these little nicks in it here. That's the really hard part to get off, and that unfortunately seems like it has to be done by hand. The machine just doesn't have enough ass, and this is just from me probably pressing just a little bit too hard with that flap wheel in these places. This is actually why I had to redo the other leg, is because of these nicks, is that if you don't get them out right now, then when you go to bring this to a full polish, these things will stand out like a sore thumb. I mean, they were very, very noticeable on the other one, so I had to bust the whole thing back down and do it over again. I would like to not have to completely do this over again, so I'm trying to take care of them now. I'm gonna try to get this camera closer so you guys can see what I'm talking about here and know that I'm not just being a crazy person. Like, these things are actually on here. There you go, if I can get it to focus. These are what I'm talking about. Those have got to go. And the only way to get rid of them is by an extreme application of elbow grease. That's where the power tools stop and the hand sanding begins. And after
way too much work, there is the finished product. So, is it perfect? No, I don't think I could ever make anything polished perfect, to be totally honest with you. I'm just not capable of that, but it's as good as the other one, and that's kind of what I was looking for. There's a couple little imperfections here, like it's a little bit lumpy in a couple spots. You can probably see just ever so slightly a couple little lumps there, but I'm gonna have to live with it. And you know, I've learned a lot doing this, and as I go on to polish other parts and do this again, hopefully I can actually get something that looks better than this even. Although I will tell you, I am way prouder of this job than I should be. I am very, very proud of myself right now. Taking that and making it smooth like that was a lot of work, and it feels real good to look at a job well done, or at least a job well done by my standards. Alright, this is going to be kind of a weird outro to what was kind of a weird video. Things were pretty random in this one, I'm not going to lie. But we're here at the Dirty Shame, if you couldn't tell, and we're wishing Marissa, who bartends here, a fond farewell. She's moving to New York City, and she's going to be bartending at a brewery up there called Finback, and also doing some other stuff for them. If you live in New York, go check her out. But anyway, we're saying goodbye to her, and I'm having to bring in somebody new. We're training some new people here at the Shame, which is why I'm doing such a random video this week, because I'm not going to really have a whole lot of time to create a bunch of videos while I'm also in the process of training a new bartender for the bar. So the content may suffer a little, although I think we've had a pretty good time in this video. I don't know. You tell me. This is my man Jake. I don't know if you've ever seen him on the channel before. Yeah, but he's recently been in the process of restoring El Camino. I don't know if restoring is the right word, because he basically took two El Caminos and made them one El Camino. Yeah. And holy moly, dude. If you follow him on Instagram, if you had seen what this was before, you would be very amazed. As it is right now, you're kind of just like, okay, that's an El Camino, big fucking deal. But this is, it's a 454 El Camino, and you had an El Camino. Oh, it's got power locks. Fuck off. Oh, yeah. Remote power locks that I installed. Damn, dude. Yeah, that interior is looking fresh.
Thank you, man.
If you guys, as you guys know, if you've seen the Les Camino, I'm a fan of truck cars. You had an El Camino that had a bad body. And you basically bought another El Camino that had a bad frame.
Yeah.
So you took the body off the bad frame El Camino and put that on your other El Camino.
That's right.
The old switcheroo.
So this body, this silver body that's on it now, somebody was building a drag car. So they'd gutted it. They'd taken everything out of it. No drivetrain, no interior, no nothing. And basically life changed for them, and they'd given up. So it sat for a few years. It was a Georgia car, so like no rust on it. There's still some clay stuck to the bottom of it, which I kind of laugh at every time I get under there and work on it.
Dude, it looks amazing. This is the first time I've seen it in person. Thanks, it looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, and then just like...
And trust me, I'm sure you'll finish the exterior. If you look at the attention to detail and the quality of the interior of this car, if it's going to show up, you'll know that
the exterior is not going to stay this way because the interior is absolutely pristine.
Yeah.
Although there's something kind of cool about having this like kind of ratty outside, then you open up the door and it's pure luxury.
Because the purpose of this thing is to be a driver, right? It's not
yeah, no, you drive this every day.
Absolutely, I drive it to work. I set off alarms in the parking garage. You know.
So I know everyone's going to kill me if you don't start it. They're going to want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's got a 454, so if you don't mind.
That was originally in a boat.
Dude. Not that it sounds that dramatic, but I know the internet would be very upset if you didn't start the El Camino.
It's got a 454 out of a boat. It's got a turbo 400 transmission out of a truck. And then the rest is out like El Camino, sort of around it.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Cool, thanks for showing me around, dude.